Hey everyone, it's V. Welcome back to the Neville Goddard mini series. So, we are getting into chapter 2 today from the book Prayer, the Art of Believing. If you haven't already listened to chapter 1, I highly suggest going back and listening to that chapter first. But yeah, let's get right into it. So, chapter 2, Dual Nature of Consciousness. A clear concept of the dual nature of man's consciousness must be the basis of all true prayer. Consciousness includes a subconscious as well as a conscious part. The infinitely greater part of consciousness lies below the sphere of objective consciousness. The subconscious is the most important part of consciousness. It is the cause of voluntary action. Okay, guys, the subconscious is the cause of the voluntary action. The subconscious is what a man is. The conscious is what a man knows. I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I. It's a quote from the Bible. The conscious and subconscious are one, but the subconscious is greater than the conscious. Also, if you're just here to learn about manifestation or how to create with your imagination and you're wondering why Neville uses quotes from the Bible, he actually uses the Bible as a parable to the human psyche. So instead of looking at the Bible as like a timeline, it's more of like how the human mind and consciousness works, how your mind works to create things. And he breaks down the Bible and compares it with your conscious and your subconscious mind so you can get a better understanding of what the Bible actually meant to teach people. The Bible is actually taught totally wrong. It is supposed to teach people how to create in their life. It's not actually a timeline like people are teaching it, and Neville breaks this down in all of his studies and his readings and his lectures. The people in the Bible are actually different parts of our mind, and this is how we work with our mind to get what we want, because God is within us. God is within our super conscious mind. Whether you're religious or not, it doesn't really matter. It's just neat that he is showing us how the Bible was actually meant to be taught, and throughout the years people have been teaching it wrong and flipping the words and just taking it completely out of context. So it's just nice to see that the Bible, quantum physics, Neville Goddard's teachings, the law of attraction, the law of assumption, every other religion out there, when you break it down properly, it all goes hand in hand, and it's literally all saying the exact same thing. Everything comes from within you. You cannot change a damn thing on the external world without changing the issue within yourself first, because your external world is a reflection of your internal world. Okay, let's get back to the book. Okay, so Neville goes on to say, I of myself can do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the work. That is from the Bible. I, the objective consciousness of myself, can do nothing. The Father, who is the subconscious mind, he doeth the work. The subconscious is that in which everything is known, in which everything is possible, to which everything goes, from which everything comes, which belongs to all, to which all have access to. So I'm going to break this down a little bit in terms of spirituality or science, because not everyone here has the same belief system. But it doesn't matter what your belief system is, because all belief systems work with this law. If you were a spiritualist, okay, then he's talking about the subconscious, which is the higher self, which is connected to everything. For science, it would be like looking at the quantum field, right? We're on this one timeline, but there's an infinite amount of timelines. When you compare it with the observer effect, you just observe a different timeline. There's infinite amount of possibilities. Anything can happen here. And if you believe in praying to God, it's like praying to God and knowing that God will bring you what you need. God can do anything. So everything goes hand in hand. Or like the law of attraction, the law of assumption. All is possible. when you go within. Okay, moving on. What we are conscious of is constructed out of what we are not conscious of. Not only do our subconscious assumptions influence our behavior, but they also fashion the pattern of our objective existence. They alone have the power to say, "Let us make man objective manifestations in our image after our likeness." The whole of creation is asleep within the deep of a man and is awakened to objective existence by his subconscious assumptions. Within that blankness we call sleep, there is a consciousness in unsleeping vigilance, and while the body sleeps, this unsleeping being releases from the treasure house of eternity the subconscious assumptions of man. Prayer is the key which unlocks the infinite storehouse. This is a quote from the Bible, I believe. "Prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it." Prayer modifies or completely changes our subconscious assumptions, and a change of assumption is a change of expression. I'm going to read that again. Prayer modifies or completely changes our subconscious assumptions, and a change of our assumption will be a change of expression. So changing your belief system will change the outcome. It's the exact same thing when you're trying to reprogram your mind. How do you do so? Through repetition. This is proven by psychology, by science, quantum physics. Practice, practice, practice. Change. When you're trying to create a new habit, what do you need to do? Well, you need to practice the new habit. Practice, practice, practice until it becomes natural to you. That's the same thing with your thoughts and assumptions. And your assumptions are creating the external. So if you don't like the external, go within and change your thoughts and stick to the thought that you want. Practice, practice, practice. That's all we're doing here. Just practice until it becomes natural. Back to Neville. The conscious mind reasons inductively from observation, experience, and education. It, therefore, finds it difficult to believe what the five senses and induction reason deny. The subconscious reasons deductively and is never concerned with the truth or falsity of the premise, but proceeds on the assumption of the correctness of the premise and objectifies results which are consistent with the premise. This distinction must be clearly seen by all who would master the art of praying. No true grasp of the science of prayer can be really obtained until the laws governing the dual nature of consciousness are understood and the importance of the subconscious realized. Prayer, the art of believing what is denied by the senses, deals almost entirely with the subconscious. Prayer deals basically entirely with the subconscious mind. Through prayer, the subconscious is suggested into acceptance of the wish fulfilled, and reasoning deductively, logically unfolds it to its legitimate end. And a quote from the Bible: "Far greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world." Okay? Far greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. The subjective mind is the diffused consciousness that animates the world. It is the spirit that giveth life. In all substance is a single soul, the subjective mind. Through all creation runs this one unbroken subjective mind. Thought and feeling fused into beliefs impress modifications upon it, charge it with a mission, which mission it faithfully executes. The conscious mind originates premises. The subjective mind unfolds them to their logical ends. Were the subjective mind not so limited in its initiative power of reasoning, objective man could not be held responsible for his actions in the world. Man transmits ideas to the subconscious mind through his feelings. The subconscious mind transmits ideas from mind to mind through telepathy. Your unexpressed convictions of others are transmitted to them without their conscious knowledge or consent, and if subconsciously accepted by them, will influence their behavior. Okay, I'm gonna break in here. So what he's saying is, because everyone is connected through the subconscious, the superconscious mind or whatever, because everything is connected, telepathy can happen. This is why when you do manifestation techniques for someone to give you a call, or you think of someone and they call you immediately, you don't even have to be doing a technique. It's like when you think of someone out of the blue and then they end up calling you. That's what he's talking about here. Everything is connected. It's like, oh, you just thought about someone, or you were just talking about someone and then you run into them at the store. It's like that. And this is also how you can do manifestation techniques for someone to give you a call in 24 hours or whatever. It's all over YouTube. But these things work because everything is connected. However, if their subconscious mind did not want to accept it, it wouldn't happen and there wouldn't be a connection, is what he's saying. He's saying you can think about someone and they will receive that thought through the subconscious mind because everything is connected. It's reaching to them mind to mind. Quantum physics, the quantum field will show you that because everything is moving particles, it's energy. The law of attraction will just say that you're attracting it. The law of assumption will be saying that, oh, you're changing someone's behavior because you assume them to be acting this way and therefore they will act like that. Or you can pray to God and say, God, I really miss this person. I really want to see them or hear from them. It's going to happen. Whatever belief system you have, it will happen as long as their subconscious mind accepts it. It's just as simple as that. Like, everything is energy. So you think about a person, their subconscious mind is going to receive that, and maybe your subconscious mind and their subconscious mind is going to just put you guys on the same path to run into each other because you're both thinking about each other. Everything works like that. It's just energy. However, I need to add on that some people, if you look at like TikTok manifesting it, I don't really use TikTok because it's kind of out of control in my opinion. But like with the TikTok manifesting techniques, people will say, oh, that's the devil's work. You're forcing someone to do something they don't want to do. It's spell work. And that is not true. If you are doing like a technique for manifesting, or if you want to call it spell work or whatever, or you're just praying to God, trying or using the law of attraction to manifest someone into your life, the subconscious mind of that person needs to accept it in order for them to unconsciously take action. It's not forcing anything on anyone. They need to subconsciously want the same thing. So that's all I want to say, because I know some people have fear around manifesting and think it's not God's work. Well, if you're praying for something, it's the exact same thing. You're putting the energy out there that you want something, and God willingly, the person would come to you if that's what you believe God thinks is the best thing. Or the law of attraction, you're putting that out there. Or quantum physics, in the quantum theory, the quantum leaping theory, you're just changing realities to have a version of a person that wants to see you or wants to meet you. Everything is with love and light and good intention. I just wanted to add that on there because I've seen some negative comments on this, even though it's regular stuff that happens all the time. You think of something and it appears. That's just how the world works, you guys. Okay, back to Neville. It has turned into the Veda talk show. Okay. The only ideas they subconsciously reject are your ideas of them, which they could not wish to be true of anyone. Whatever they could wish for others can be believed of them, and by the law of belief, which governs subjective reasoning, they are compelled to subjectively accept and therefore objectively express accordingly. The subjective mind is completely controlled by suggestion. It's just another example. When you think about someone and they call you, you think about them and your thought goes into their mind, and they just randomly, like, you pop into their mind and they're like, oh, I haven't talked to that person for a while. Or you run into each other at the grocery store because you think of them and they receive that thought subconsciously, and their subconscious confirms it. They're like, oh yeah, I want to see them too. But unconsciously, they don't like recognize this thought. The subconscious recognizes it, and therefore maybe they just randomly decide to go to the grocery store an hour earlier, and then you guys run into each other. That's how things work. It's so friggin' cool once you realize that every single thing is connected, no matter your religion, your belief system, whether you don't even believe in science. It doesn't matter. Everything is connected, and you can't say otherwise when all of these things are happening on a day-to-day basis. But once you recognize how everything works, you can use it to your advantage. Okay, there's one more paragraph. Ideas are best suggested when the objective mind is partly subjective. That is, when the objective senses are diminished or held in abeyance. This partly subjective state can best be described as controlled reverie, wherein the mind is passive but capable of functioning with absorption. It is a concentration of attention. There must be no conflict in your mind when you are praying. Turn from what is to what ought to be. Assume the mood of the fulfilled desire, and by the universal law of reversibility, you will realize your desire. So now he's kind of talking about how to pray effectively. What I was talking about earlier is just little simple things that happen every single day, but we're talking about big changes here. You guys want to see big changes in your life? You want to have a complete life turnaround. Go into prayer like a meditation. Sit with yourself and forget about where you are right now. This is the most important part. Disconnect from your external world. Go within and imagine what you want. Get specific. What is it that you want? Maybe you want a brand new house on the other side of the world. Okay, so don't just visualize it. What would it be like if you were already there? How would you act? What would you be doing? Like, go through a complete day of what it would be like living in your new house on the other side of the world, and hold on to that. And through the law of reversibility and the law of the damn universe, energy, everything, you will get there. Once you stop focusing on what is going on now and you focus on where you want to be, everything falls into place, and all of a sudden you will start having different attitude changes, and your actions will be different. When you start focusing on where you want to be and that's the only thing you're focusing on, like acting as if, you will just wake up and your mind will have different priorities. That's how things work. You don't have to force anything. You just wake up a different person. Like, you wake up with different priorities, and you'll just start doing things differently when you put yourself in the shoes of already having it. It's really neat, and it's not difficult at all. The most difficult part is to sit yourself down and disconnect from your external world. If you haven't really done any meditation or visualization techniques before, I'm sure you have on a day-to-day basis. Before you go to bed, maybe you had a bad day, you argued with your boss, and that is what is going on in your head. And so you have a belief system that your boss doesn't like you, and you guys always get into a fight, and your job sucks. But it's because you're replaying that before you go to bed, and before you go to bed is the most powerful time to influence your external reality. So if it's just the same thing going on repeat, that's exactly what's going to be happening in your external reality, you guys. If you want something to change, do it before you go to bed, so you can reprogram your mind to act as if you are already fulfilled and that you already have what you want. I have done this technique. It's not even a technique. It's something that we do every single day. It's a universal law. What we keep replaying on in our minds, in our heads, especially when we're in a meditative state or right before sleep, that is what is going to happen on the external. That is what is happening on the external. So if you want something on the external to change, you need to go within and, well, whether it's doing visualization or affirmations, you need to just keep repeating what you actually want and ignore what you don't want. It's the same thing with implementing new habits. Stop doing the old habit and start working on the new habit of what you want. It's practice, practice, practice. That's all it is. It's actually much more simpler than we think. And we need to step out of the poor me mentality and focus on only what we want. Anyways, friends, that is the end of this chapter. I hope you guys learned something from it. And tomorrow, we're going to be doing chapter 3, Imagination and Faith. And I think after I do this book, we're going to start doing some different Neville techniques, and we're going to get into some Joseph Murphy. I'm going to talk about Abdullah as well, and some hypnotherapy, some hypnotherapists from the 1800s and the 1900s. I do love quantum physics, and now this is all proven, which I'm going to get into at a later date, but it's also incredible that all of these leaders knew about the law before science could prove it, and I really want to dig deeper into that. I'm really curious more about Abdullah and some of these hypnotherapists that were using suggestive techniques, auto-suggestion, to get people to completely change without even having any like science proof of it. They just figured this stuff out in the 1800s. Like, why do we not know this now? Hundreds of years later, and we are still not aware of how the law works. Well, the majority of the world isn't. It just leaves me wondering. I always just have so many more questions on how everything ties in together. So I hope you continue on this journey with me, because I'm just deep in the rabbit hole now. Just on religion, spirituality, science, psychology, how mathematics, even geometry. There are specific codes that can assist you in healing and manifestation, and all of these things are so interesting, and I want to dive deeper into them with you guys on this channel. So if that being said, if you are new here and you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. Let me know what you thought of this chapter, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care and happy creating.